Shut up! They're my dogs. I've got 2 dogs. They're the most loyal dogs, loyal friends you could ever hope for. My name is Terrence. I'm a civil engineer. I love my job. I love building things that future generations will look at and marvel. The fence to the park, that was mine. The little raised bit on the corner of Clover Street, I did that, I designed that.
You mean the bit that everyone trips over?
Yeah. We put the raised curb in to celebrate 100 years since the invention of the curb by a brilliant civil engineer. Now, when I suggested that we put in 7 roundabouts, all directly leading from one to the other, to the other, I knew that it would increase the amount of traffic that we could get coming into and out of the town simultaneously. Now, it was not my decision to make sure that none of those roundabouts had sufficient road markings. Now, each one of those roundabouts was designated a different speed. So there were some people coming around the first roundabout at 40 miles an hour, whilst the next had slowed right down to 20. And that is where the problem was. Now, that was not my decision. However, the entire project had been put under my name. I had been scapegoated is what I was. Scapegoated, much in the same way as when we put the subway in under the canal and that child drowned.
Families have been protesting directly outside your house. How's this made you feel?
Well, first of all, what I would like to say to those protesters is they are blocking a main artery into town. Now, if Doris next door were to have a heart attack, now I'm not saying she will, I'm not saying she should, even though she hasn't given me back my stove. I'm just saying that if she were to have a heart attack and there was an ambulance needed to come by and it couldn't because they were out protesting a man who was just doing his job, all I had to do was make sure that it was a nice, safe little subway underneath the canal so the kiddies could get from the park. Now, admittedly, I was also part of making sure that the entire park was covered in concrete so people stopped losing their keys. And on the other side of the canal was the school. Now, do you know how many kids would normally drown trying to cross over the canal on the old bridge?
Well, according
none. Now, technically, none. But the potential was there. And that's the job as a civil engineer, is to see a potential problem such as congestion or a dead child or just a bit of a cracked paving and a potential claim, and to save the council money. We put new things in. We put in that subway. Now, admittedly, maybe we should have put more than a centimetre of concrete between the bottom of the canal and the top of the tunnel. But I was not to know that. I was given all of the best advice I could find via Google, and I was not to know that they would cave in and that little boy would lose his life.
What would you say, looking back on your long career, what would you say is your pride? What stands out as the biggest project that you can look at and say, that's mine?
I quite like the curb thing.